Welcome to the space where the worlds of science and business collide. We'll begin with exploring data usage in our everyday life, at work and beyond. We'll also try to determine if it's wise to seek data expert advice, even for the most commonly used tools like the Pareto principle. This is two poles, not so far apart.
My name is Jarosław Kareslak.
I'm Kamil.
I'm a professor of biostatistics at Indiana University in the United States.
I'm a supply chain expert with a focus on global transformation projects.
I primarily deal with more efficient use of data coming from medical experiments.
I'm passionate about leadership, continuous improvements and culture in the global business landscape.
So just wanted to say that all the opinions in this podcast are our own and they do not represent the institutions that we're associated with. Welcome, Kamil.
Welcome to a rather unusual situation for us, but it's good to meet here in the center of Zielona Góra, actually in a winery, deep in a cellar with lots of wine and lots of great things around here. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for arranging it. It's a great place. I didn't know about it before.
Yeah, I'm actually discovering it as well. But why we're here, guys? We're actually cousins that took a completely different path of lives. Well, there's one thing in common, actually, that we have to say. The thing in common is that we were born here, but we've actually left Zielona Góra and went to find either business or some other challenges outside of Poland. Well, we did take a bit of a different paths in our lives, and both of us actually went through a number of organizations and a number of places where we have a bit of a different perspective on organizations, on problem solving, of how different ideas or different problems are actually solved and done together. I find it really interesting actually to have a bit of a conversation, taking it from more of a volatile business approach, really fast lately as well, and actually have a bit of a chat with you around how some of the scientific world can help out, but also can actually, or how the scientific world can help out the business world, and the vice versa actually as well. We've talked about a number of different things. We've talked about data, we've talked about problem solving, we've talked about culture and organizations, and actually I think it would be really nice to jump into some of those topics and have a conversation about that. We'd like to actually raise a big thank you to the place where we're able to record this episode of our podcast. It's a lovely place. It's called Srebrna Góra. It's in our hometown, Zielona Góra. It's a great place if you're looking for good wine, good food, or any sort of activity you can think about here. So a big thank you once again.
Where should we start? It's like there are a lot of topics.
Yeah.
Maybe let's start, I don't know, you think data and the use of data in different organizations?
Well,
or even before that, we should go somewhere else?
I'll tell you one thing where it's all coming from. So I did saw that meme the other day on the internet, and it actually said like every catastrophe movie actually starts with the business and governments not listening to the scientists. So, you're the closest scientist that I have in my life, so I felt like it's going to be good to actually have a conversation. And the thing that is really close to my mind is around, data in general and data in our life, and some of the myths and some of the things and how we use the data in a business environment. Right now when you look at organization or any sort of a part of the problem solving, or at least that's what's happening to me every day at work. We say we use data, and we have a lot of data as well, and we're actually investing quite a lot to put that things in, to put the data into motion and actually have it to hand. But I sometimes have a feeling that we take a bit of shortcuts around using it. And there's a number of methods and things around that I see every day, which I'm a little bit scared that I'm just using it too early. And one of them is around, even the normal distribution of the things around there. We use it everywhere. Should we trust it on a normal basis or not?
Also, I would say, as with everything, it depends.
It depends.
Depends what you use it for. And one thing I want to say right at the start is data are not information. Data are not knowledge. There's this idea that as long as we collect enough data, we can solve all the problems. And another idea there is, and maybe we are already going to 5 points, 5 important points, but there's this belief that once we have the data and we have this wonderful software, or these days machine learning, AI, we push one button and we have the answers. And talking about memes or things we see online is I saw this beautiful thing yesterday where they had a price chart where a company working with people on improving efficiency and so on had this price chart. And of course it was a joke, but they said, if we design, you might observe, but we do everything for you, you pay £500 or $500. If you design and we watch it and we come after to fix it, you pay £20,000 or $20,000. The thing is, it's not the solutions to each problem they may rely on the same basis, but they will be slightly different.
Okay.
So if you don't have experts, at least some experts, working with you on that, you might be walking on a wrong path for a long time.
All right.
I'm not saying the experts are everything.
Yeah.
It's what I believe in is collaboration or communication.
Right. So you can't really trust the data. You're gonna have this magical switch like in AI, because people use it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I use it every day. I use it every time around. Are you saying it's dangerous, or it's going to actually create a bit of a problem, can get you in trouble, or is
Well, it depends.
It depends again.
It might, yes. It might, if you have enough capacity, spare capacity, you might lose some money. Or, in academic world, we might, lose some time, which is also money.
Yeah.
But, as long as you don't use it to do surgeries on people suffering from something and people dying on the operating table, it's, so what, in a sense. But, and it's not like it will always happen. I don't want to be this like Pollyanna, saying that, the sky is falling and things will go to some dark place, yes? Because very often, as I said, you lose some money.
But it can be costly.
It can be costly,
and that's the issue where I'm seeing around that. So a good example of that is actually PARETO. I mean, I've actually graduated.
Pareto distribution.
Pareto. Well, we just
principle.
Pareto. That's the thing around it. So on a number of conversations on different levels, and even starting from the university that I had, there's always this saying 20% of the causes are combining to the 80% of the effects, or the vice versa. And I've seen the number of graphs I've seen around the place that is actually showing that, and the decisions, you'd be amazed how many decisions are actually made based on that particular thing. It's almost like a go-to tool, at least for me. Obviously it might be different for others, but for me, for a long period of time, it was a go-to tool to put all of those causes and all of the data you have in that histogram chart, and basically just go for it, and then deal with the most important 20% of the time. And again, is that something? Was I going completely wrong or completely right, or can I?
My answer, yeah.
It depends again. All right.
Yeah. It's the issue is that as humans, and I know I'm making a huge generalization, but we like certainty. We like, if we follow certain path, we want to know that we are right. Or that if we are wrong, we want to get off that path. We can't forget about this one thing in life, which is, on one hand is beautiful because otherwise life would be boring. On the other hand, is very unsettling, which is randomness.
Okay.
So, you might be thinking you are going on the wrong path and suddenly something happens it's not so wrong. It's, maybe I can make a small tweak and things are doing well. But, on the other hand, we might be thinking we're on a good path and then something happens, something that doesn't depend on us.
All right.
Let's say COVID happened.
Yeah.
Nobody could really predict that it will be on such a scale. And many things, again, went to a dark place.
Okay.
Because we couldn't truly neither predict it nor see what the consequences of that will be. And we still don't know. It's still early in the process. We're kind of in a post-COVID era, but this still affects many aspects of life.
Okay. I still didn't get the answer then.
I won't give you answers. I mean, this is too early. I will try, harder, but...
Right. But then, because I'm getting, I want to give a bit of an advice and the things around it. And
I understand.
So is the general thing that you're saying, well, use it, or use data, use the methodologies, or use simple things, but just be careful, or just have it, think about randomness. Is that the bit?
Use with caution.
Use with caution.
Don't believe in something that it's, one thing that and again, I'm not giving you a straight answer, but the thing I really like about science is that it is falsifiable. We might be going along a certain way today, and tomorrow somebody else might come up with a different explanation for a phenomenon, and we might rethink something. Of course, we will not change gravity. Okay, it's here.
Well,
I'm not talking about I don't want to go into quantum things right now, but it's at a certain level, at a certain scale, there are some facts. So, like certain books in certain sciences, mathematics, physics, you don't have to rewrite them every 5-10 years because there are certain truths that have been established. Not everything, we don't know everything. Biology, you have to rewrite the book every 10 years because what you thought 10 years ago, it's not completely true, but we might change certain things. Like genetics came around. There were many new technologies that are kind of around that changed our thinking about the world, the biological world.
Right. Let's come back to the commonly used, well, I'll call it stuff, but it's methods, the Pareto chart, the normal distribution. Because
wait, don't confuse normal and Pareto. These are very different things. So let's talk about Pareto, we'll talk about normal.
Right, so that's where I'm, that actually brings it to a really nice, perspective from my time. What I would like to leave from this discussion is, at least for myself, is a bit of a, coming back to the way around using it or using it carelessly or without sort of the caution that you've mentioned before around it. I'm just thinking, are there any, more particular things that you need to watch out? So if you'd have to think about the actual, cautions or the list or the little list, if you would get a product with a Pareto chart and you would just, look at the other side, what would you say from the
side effects?
Side effects and stuff around that.
From my perspective, and again, this might be a professional bias, is very often we think about problems as being disconnected. So for example, just to take an example, you have a coffee shop and you have certain issues arising in serving customers. And let's say 40% of those issues deal with item 1. Okay. The next 20% with item 2, the next 15 with, and you go on like that. Now you think, we should address the problem that we should address an issue that causes 40% of the problems. However, what if the other items are connected with each other? Right. Or in my field, we would call them correlated. Okay. So what if the next 3 causes, if you eliminate one of them, you eliminate all of them? Right. That actually gives you a solution to more issues than just addressing one.
And it might land outside of the 20% that I have. And I'm not going to think about it at all. Basically, just going to neglect it or just leave it for the next iteration. And you'll be in this vicious circle then, trying to actually, spend money, effort, and all of it trying to fix that when it's actually when it's actually there. And that's where you need an expert, I guess.
Well, I'm not selling my services here, but
Right,
you know,
okay.
it's sometimes, I guess we sometimes think about the world in this kind of binary way, that, you know, either we need an expert or we can do it ourselves, but sometimes we just need some help.
Right.
Or sometimes we might want to discuss, you know, things, brainstorm
Okay.
about things, and that's what we have been doing for a while now, just
Yes.
trying to see, is there a different perspective on an issue?
All right, fair enough. No, that makes it a bit. I'm trying to think about the example actually from a real life, and maybe I'll come back to it when we have a bit of a thought around where, you know, the actual cause lied somewhere completely different there. If you find this thing, the topics in the discussion interesting, please do subscribe and push the subscribe button, because that will allow us to make many more interesting subjects into our conversation.
Yeah, we will have guests, we will have, you know, we'll talk about other interesting topics, so let us know. What do you think?
Let us know what you think and push that button, please.